Great. Sean, are you okay that we are recording this interview today?
Yes, I sure am.
Very cool. And are you okay that we are taking this interview, bringing it on our podcast, bringing it on social media in form of small snippets, and as well as the whole interview on the website?
Yes, absolutely.
Very, very cool. Great. So then let's get started. Welcome to the show, guys. Hi there, business owners, directors, and marketeers. In today's show, I'm meeting Sean Leonard from ActiveDEMAND, a very interesting company for data-driven and performance-driven marketeers. I'm Lucas, your host as always, and today I'm talking with Sean about ActiveDEMAND, who is offering a wide variety of tools from email marketing, appointment scheduling, landing pages. I was just on the website and it greeted me by my name, which was fantastic. So I want to learn all about the product, all about the people behind that, and that's why I have Sean here today. Hey, Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Very good. So tell us about ActiveDEMAND a little bit. What is it all about?
Yeah, it's a great question. So actually, it's JumpDemand is the company, and our brand product, ActiveDEMAND, is a marketing automation technology. Really, JumpDemand, the business we're in, is helping people accelerate customer acquisition. And the ActiveDEMAnd brand focuses on marketing tools. Funnelflare is our sales enablement platform that helps on the sales side of things. So, but really, ActiveDEMAnd, our whole purpose of ActiveDEMAnd, it's an integrated marketing platform that helps marketers do omni-channel marketing and be able to measure, optimize, and really we're trying to build, as you saw on our website, what we call the audience of one. And really what that is the use of adaptive content and adaptive storytelling to, even though we're targeting a large audience of people, trying to give personal journeys while doing digital marketing.
Very, very interesting. Is there any of the tools that are the flagship tools in that sort of orchestra that you can see on your page of different tools, or is it sort of very equally distributed out how people are using ActiveDEMAND?
Yeah, so it's a case that the people that are using ActiveDEMAND, like we do have several tools, but really the sophisticated marketer is using the entire suite because really the idea of ActiveDEMAND as an integrated marketing platform is to, instead of having this disparate set of tools, it gives you one buyer journey and then the tools to affect the buyer journey. So I would say definitely reporting is a big piece of it, but yeah, typically it's not somebody. If I was going to say there's one tool that people use more than others by themselves, it's our call tracking platform. But really, the people that get involved with ActiveDEMAND, it's the ability to, like I said, build the audience of one. So we do they're using the adaptive marketing and the email marketing and the whole, as you saw, dynamic website and dynamic advertising is really what people are doing with it.
Very cool. You mentioned the different sophistication levels there of people who are using it. Who would be the typical people using ActiveDEMAND? How would you describe a typical user that ends up using the tool? Is that marketeer in a big software company? Is that agency individuals? Tell us maybe a little bit about that.
So definitely, as you know, digital marketing is it may be complex, but at least it's changing daily. So the challenge that many companies face is that they are very good at something other than digital marketing. So it's a case that they'll either take the approach of bringing an in-house group of folks, or they'll outsource it to a marketing agency. We do a lot of business with marketing agencies because it seems like there's a growing trend for people to outsource that expertise. So they will lean on a team of professionals that are focused on digital marketing. So we do a very healthy business with marketing agencies. The other piece, like you mentioned, is definitely SaaS vendors. Typically, SaaS vendors are quite often ahead of the curve as far as understanding software and understanding how to drive messaging. unlike maybe a consulting service or a definitely not Bob the Baker. Typically, we're not selling to people like Bob the Baker and these types of stuff. They're leaning on a marketing agency to use a platform such as ActiveDEMAND.
Makes total sense. And how would the typical user journey be looking like until somebody finds and starts using ActiveDEMAND? What are the typical ways somebody comes across and finds ActiveDEMAND?
Yeah, so we as a company very much dog food our our software, so to speak.
Mhm.
So we have an advantage ourselves because many other SaaS vendors, they're looking to companies like us to buy software and understand the software. But we've been using the software since the first line of code was written. So it's a case that we do everything that I would say every little piece of the platform we at one time or another have used it. So we have a fairly robust digital marketing strategy. Top of the funnel stuff. We're doing a lot of content, a lot of paid advertisements, partner webinars, partner events, and definitely a lot of, and that's really where the magic is with the audience of one is account-based marketing, because we know which companies we are uniquely positioned to help. So we target them globally. And if we can get them to the website or engaging in any way, as you see when you get to our website, our whole website is about what we do for that person.
Yep.
So typically, to answer your question, how they're finding us, it's usually through our, if it's accounts that we're targeting, they're finding us either through our digital marketing, or I should say advertising, or our online events or this type of stuff.
Yep.
But we're using our software.
Makes total sense. I was kind of going in that way because I was excited to ask you that question about which role the actual website for you plays, and it seems to be a crucial one. What type of metrics do you care about? Because obviously, with your specifically with your tool, you can look into a lot of stuff that would be going on the website. What do you care about? Which types of metrics are important for you on your website? In order to steer the business and make decisions?
Yeah, so it's a good observation. Definitely for digital marketing, I think the website is it's the store, right? It's where you're the first engagement. People who are really noticing you, they will come to the website. So typically, our whole approach is to step one, just get people to the website. Mm-hmm. So definitely for us, like we're not trying to boil the ocean. We know which verticals that we're doing good business in and which ones we're accelerating. So I would say a big metric for us, because we've got the entire loop, is which channels from first touch all the way through to subscription are doing the best. And then really our job is, from a metric perspective, is to accelerate the velocity for those channels that are working, as opposed to spending a lot of time, I wonder if I put a person in a gorilla suit outside with a website on the back of his back or a sandwich board. We're not going to try any crazy things, because we have very good visibility in what, like I said, is what channels work well. Excuse me. So really, from a stats perspective, it's from first touch to close, which channels are producing the best for us.
Very cool. Do you maybe have a little war story to share, or some insights into on how you improved your own website to generate more demo bookings? Because I think a lot of folks in the SaaS world would be curious to hear that from your angle, because you have the tools basically on hand. Any sort of things that you learned?
Yeah, so it's interesting is that when we're selling software, typically the thing that most marketers lean on is a form, right? Is I need somebody to fill out a form. Mm-hmm. And one of the small changes, this is a mistake we made. We made lots of mistakes making, like we used to be a marketing agency when we built our platform. That's how we bootstrapped. We built lots of websites, and I think the biggest mistake we made in websites, and I see it all over the place. Well, easy mistake number one is putting your email address on the website. That's absolutely a huge mistake. But interestingly, number two is you see all the websites, the top right corner is reserved to the contact us form link, right? It is perfect real estate, and for years we wasted, just like everybody else, we wasted that real estate on a link that nobody was going to fill out. We switched it to a book a demo, and then we offer a time slot, right, which is of huge value. And once we get the time slot, let me tell you, people will tell you their life story. They'll fill out the longest form ever, do it truthfully, right? Because they want to use their time wisely. Yep. So it was and we actually measured the impact because we had before we moved the contact link to and replaced it, it was 530% improvement in conversion rates by making that change.
Wow, and you were saying that's just to make sure I fully understand that booking a demo, then picking a time, and then giving richer insights about what they want to do. Very good.
Yeah, so like, you booked a meeting on, I think, with my calendar, and we have dynamic forms, right, that are multi-page forms. We start up front with the time slot, then after that, we'll the journey somebody's going to go through, they'll just keep giving information, and because they're thinking to themselves, I'm going to give up some of my time, I'm going to make the best use of it. So it was, end of the day, it was interesting that I don't know why, like you see so many websites with a contact us link, and I wrote a whole paper on you need to get that off your website or bury it because it's killing your, and then the menu stays. I know I'm getting into esoteric stuff, but it's that's a simple little thing that had a huge impact on conversion rates.
Makes a lot of sense. I would have one small follow-up question there because I'm very curious on your take there. Obviously, more and more chats, chat widgets, chat bots are appearing on pages, and slowly but surely also, taking at least also the head of conversion rate optimization in some cases. What's your take on this? Any experiences? Anything? Yep. What do you think?
So it's this is I think one thing to say right up front is that the cookie policy is very important, right? Because, and why I'm saying that is that what we try very hard at is not selling the software; it's getting the anonymity as quickly as possible, right? And so definitely the chat is a huge tool. The thing that I would say that is a mistake with many chats, though, is that if the robot's in the room, people are going to know it, and the experience is going to be bad, right? So we typically man our chats with people, right? We do less of the automation on the chat. Because I know myself, I get frustrated with a poorly implemented bot, and it's we rarely get the question, "Hey, are you a robot or are you real?" Because of how we engage with chat. So I think the chat is a great tool. I'm still not convinced yet that that the automated bots are at a point where the engagement's fantastic. Because as soon as they feel that robot, people turn off. In my opinion.
Makes a lot of sense. One small follow-up question on that, because this debate has been going on in some of the interviews. Would you consider the chats to be then a conversion enhancing tool, or would you rather place it in the sort of customer service after I've bought the product section?
Conversion tool. Absolutely a conversion tool. And early on, like one of the first things we did, we're no longer using the company, but the first thing we did when we integrated with one of the chat services, the first thing we did was the first integration we do is chats is to, as quickly as possible, to like scrape the conversation looking for contact information so we don't have to put up a form. Yep. Right? So if somebody types their email address right in the middle of the chat, bam, we've got it connected to the session data and the buyer journey. Yep. So it has always been a conversion tool for me, but there is a customer service aspect to it where even at the top of the funnel, it's about providing exceptional customer service all the way through to where they become a customer. Right, so it does play two roles, but at the top of the funnel, the role is absolutely conversions, and then customer retention, expansion, etc. It is a sales and services tool.
Very good, cool. I would like to switch gears a little bit. You alluded a little bit already about the early days of ActiveDEMAND. Or I think you mentioned there was an agency that you guys were building up. Could you tell me a little bit about the first 10 clients of ActiveDEMAND? How did you get them?
Yeah, and so the first 10 clients were So, bit of history of myself is I was an executive at a process automation software company, and interestingly enough, automation doesn't come from marketing; it actually comes from manufacturing, right? So, hence I was telling you we had offices in Cologne and around the world. We were very heavily in manufacturing process automation. And then we ended up selling our company to Honeywell. And as such, we were always leaders in digital marketing as a process automation company and the use of automation for marketing. So as soon as we sold to Honeywell, all of a sudden I had a large contact database of previous people that I'd done business with. So it was it was really just start marketing to these folks, and they knew us as leaders as digital marketers in the industrial space. So very quickly we got the customers, and then of course our whole vision was to build a tech platform that leveraged our background in industrial automation to truly do marketing automation as from a manufacturing automation perspective. Right.
Yep. Very interesting. I really like that you bring in the background of automation there, not being all marketing tools in the beginning. Makes a lot of sense.
You look at a manufacturing facility, and that's where the most advanced automation exists, right? Yep. And marketers, they came to the show after.
Very good. I would be curious then to learn, maybe it's a bit of a generic question, but I ask it anyway. I would be curious if you could maybe tell us one thing that really helped you to build this business to the point where it's today, is something that was really important in driving the growth of the company.
And I think, it is a good question, and I think it comes down to having a passion and an excitement for what you're doing, right? Like when I was. I'm an engineer, and when I was working for when we had the previous process automation company, I loved building software. I loved doing that whole concept of the accelerating a long sales cycle sale and automating the experience. So it's a case that when we did after the sale, starting this company, I was super, super excited, as I am today, about engaging with advanced technology and using it in a way where it actually helps people, right? And I truly believe that what we do actually does help people, right? It helps the whole like you just think about even buying the simplest thing today. There is this massive, so much information, and being able to actually do stuff that helps you can now make money at it too, right? Because if I had a passion for something that didn't help anybody but myself, then it's called work, right?
Makes a lot of sense. When you mentioned the passion there, I'm curious, what is one thing that excites you about the upcoming, sort of the new technologies, new applications that are emerging in that area that you're active in? Is there something that really excites you for the upcoming maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe 5 years, that is sort of emerging?
Yeah, and I guess there's a couple of things that excite me, and it's actually a bit of a double-edged sword. Like if I look at how. I remember I went to a marketing conference, and it was just as people started using the little Google Homes and the Alexa devices, and I was like, even myself, as somebody who's been as an advanced marketer and in technology, I hadn't actually owned one. And the question came up was because it was about AI and the use of adaptive learning and this type of stuff. And the question was, how many marketers here in the room have an Alexa in their home? And everybody's hands went up, right? And I thought it was interesting. And what excites me, and I do use these devices, is that if the technology like AI and learning, like this whole engagement with human and computers, and it adds value, that excites the heck out of me. Right? Because I've always been free to give my data to Google, but they've been giving me value back. Like in the early days, when they first came up with the integration with the phone, where it says, "Hey, you've got to leave now. Your plane is going to take off." Yep. A ton of value, right? A ton of value. So to answer your question, it's really about the use of, and this is where the double-edged sword is the use of data to help people, right? With technology, and the double-edged sword is of course privacy, right? Is how do you get the benefit of this without like there's going to be there is this ongoing battle between I want my data, I want my privacy, and in the EU clearly it's well known, and there's legislation in place for it, but it's sort of, I think that there's this play back and forth is there has to be a balance between privacy and leveraging of data to help, because there is this thing where there is a real value to people's lives using the automation.
Makes a lot of sense. Very, very interesting. Very cool, Sean. So as we're slowly approaching the end of this interview today, I would like to ask you one last question that I would always ask our SaaS founders and CEOs that I'm talking with. If you would zoom back into the day that you started ActiveDEMAND, what advice would you give yourself?
Back to the passion thing, like there's a book that I've read ages ago, and I love the book. It was Execution, and it's the discipline of execution and getting things done. Even though I've sort of had this philosophy, similar to what they're sort of bestowing in that book, is the importance for getting things done is having people that aren't just like, it's getting real with the staff and the people you're working with. If I was to go back, I would say number one is find people that have talent, but also that you can work with on a daily basis, right? Because a big part of life is the time you spend in work, and there's lots of talented people. If you're not connecting with the people that you work with, and they're people like that you feel happy to be with on a daily basis, it's going to slow you down, right? So the advice I'd give is myself back then is make sure that you surround yourself not with it's good to have people that are have opposing thoughts, but there has to be, it can't be oil and water. You have to get along with it. It has to be something you really love going to work every day and enjoying the people you're with, right? So it isn't just because they're feeding you positive information, but surround yourself with people that be real and that you actually like, right?
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks, Sean, for giving us an overview of what your company is doing, where you guys are coming from, what you've learned down the path, basically, and down the path that you've been walking as an entrepreneur and company builder. So I really appreciate you being part of the show, and thanks for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me.